Hi everyone, this is Nitin Choda, and in this very important training video, I'm going to share with you not only why you should create short-term and long-term goals for your practice, but also how you can create short-term and long-term goals for your practice. Now, we're stuck in the day-to-day minutiae in our private practice. The phone's ringing, patients are waiting, the staff needs help. There's a lot going on a day-to-day basis, so it's actually very difficult to think of short-term goals and long-term goals, but I urge you to consider your planning in this way. So what is a short-term goal? A short-term goal is where you want your practice to be 12 months from now, okay? And a long-term goal is where you want your practice to be 5 or more years from now. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. A short-term goal, here's an example. You could say, we saw 500 patients in the past 12 months, and in the next 12 months, we want to see 550, maybe 600 patients. That's one example. You could even set up a short-term goal in terms of number of patient visits. You could say, in the past year, we did 6,000 visits, and in the next year, in the next 12 months, we're going to do 6,600 or maybe 7,200 visits. Now, hopefully you noticed a trend here. A good example of a short-term goal is a goal that's at least 10% more, maybe as high as 20% more than where you were over the past 12 months. So when you're setting short-term goals, it could be number of patients, it could be based on the number of patient visits, it could even be a financial goal, how much you bring in by way of total revenue. That's how you need to plan short-term goals. Now, a long-term goal, on the other hand, is where you plan 5 or more years out. Now, I want all of you to stop for a second and really think about this. Where do you want your practice to be 5 years from now? Do you want to be having 1 more practice? Do you want to have maybe 3 more staff members? Do you want to maybe sell your practice? Do you want to have some cash paying services? Where do you envision yourself in 5 years? A long-term goal is a very important strategic thing that all top-level private practice owners plan. When I speak to any private practice owner who's been successfully growing over the past 5 years, they had a very clear vision of both a short-term goal and a long-term goal. I'll give you an idea, I'll give you a strategy on how you can plan this. A long-term goal should bring you closer to your ideal private practice. Now, what does your ideal private practice mean? It could be one where you're spending less time treating and more time managing the practice. It could be one where you can manage your practice maybe even while you're on vacation. Or if you like treating, which is fine, a long-term practice could be you working maybe 20 hours a week while others sort of do most of the clinical care. That's your decision. But a long-term goal should bring you closer to where you eventually want your practice to be. I want you to really think about this because this is high-level thinking. This is looking at, sort of looking at the forest, not just looking at the trees. And I think having a very clear idea of your short-term goals, that's a year from now, and your long-term goals, which is 5 or more years from now, is one of the most important things you can do for your practice. After all, we do it for our patients. We plan short-term and long-term goals, and it's about time that we did it for ourselves and our financial future and for our freedom. Thank you so much for watching.